Hello, welcome to another episode of Healing Visionaries online show. Today we have Doctors Tom and Shelley Negelow. They are both master healers and teachers. I'd like to take a couple minutes to briefly tell you more about their background before we dive in and talk with them. Tom brings a unique perspective in helping both men and women to have a profound connection with who they are, focusing on the mastery of the energetic nature of our humanity. His multifaceted work includes training, personal and professional coaching, healing, and channeling. Some of his key classes include Rite of Passage for Men, the Relationship Mastery Seminars, and the Science of Spirituality. He developed a cellular energy releasing healing method, which combines emotional releasing and deep tissue restructuring of the body. He is also a deep trance channel and channels the energy of Kutumi, the combined energy of St. Francis of Assisi, and Shah Jahan, the Indian leader who built the Taj Mahal, and Pythagoras, the mathematician and philosopher. He also channels the Guiding One, the energy of a completed universe. Tom's channeling provides great insight into who we are, the challenges we face in today's world, and essential information about our human existence. He has also authored 3 books: Blueprint for Healing, The Path to Conscious Living, Blueprint for Life, Words of the Guiding One, and Love of the Human Spirit. Welcome, Dr. Tom.
Thank you.
Shelley is an advocate for women, relationships, and families. For over 30 years, she has been mentoring and teaching women through one-on-one private sessions tailored to their personal and professional needs. She also developed and teaches the life-changing Power of Women series, which trains women in creating extraordinary results and turns the fire back on in their lives. She teaches real tools for real-life extraordinary results, a roadmap and foundation for success. Along with her husband, Tom, she teaches couples and individuals how to create a powerful life partnership, as well as healthy, productive relationships in all areas of their lives through the Relationship Mastery Seminars and personal coaching sessions and classes for couples and individuals. As a master healer, she offers deep healing inner child sessions for both men and women in her private practice, which provide lasting, life-changing results to the client. She is author of The Master in the Mirror, A Woman's Guide to Living a Passionate and Joyful Life. Doctors Tom and Shelley, along with Dr. Lisa Stewart, are going to be teaching an upcoming Mastery of Consciousness Self in Manassas, Virginia, in September 30th through October 5th this year. This is a comprehensive course offered to teachers and healers and those seeking a deep experience of who they are. In the Mastery of Conscious Self, you will emerge with a clear experience of the energetic essence and self and enhanced ability to create from your passion. You will learn dynamic and powerfully transformative healing processes that have been taught by Tom and Shelley for over 30 years throughout the United States. These processes will support you in the mastery of your connection with universal energy that you can access at any time and anywhere. So that course sounds amazing. Welcome, Doctors Tom and Shelley. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having us, Cailin.
We appreciate the time it takes to come on here and talk with us. So I'm curious, the title of your topic today is called Becoming Enlightened, the energy of awareness and healing your life. Can you talk more about what you mean by enlightenment?
Sure. Enlightenment is very simply the awareness of what is around you, what's going on, and more importantly, how to deal with it, what to do with it. Enlightenment for us is not sitting on a mountain and meditating for 20 years and all of a sudden you become enlightened. that's not real for us in our world. Now, some worlds and some religions and whatnot, that may work. But for us in our three-dimensional world, we have all this stuff to deal with. And we've got relationships and cars and houses and all that. And that takes work to function in that three-dimensional world.
Right.
So enlightenment, I think a good definition for us is the ability to notice when you're judging something and release it in that moment. The faster you're capable of doing that, the more enlightened you become. Because instead of lingering in your old stuff, your old concepts and ideas, and try to get past that and out of the box and all of that disappears. When you're aware of what's going on in the moment, releasing the judgment of that, which is a human thing. We're going to judge. We can't ever get rid of our judgments. So instead of trying and working on getting rid of them, how do you experience it in a way that that you can let it go? And instead of being at, let's say, the effect of something, you're actually at the cause of it, which means being able to create in that energy. So the faster and the more you do that, the more enlightened you are. And things that have been making you crazy over the years start to drop away and disappear.
It sounds a lot like what people also refer to as being highly evolved. That we, when you can just let things go, or it's different from that.
Yeah, highly evolved is good. But I think the key here is when you become aware of those things, there's also an awareness in the body that you have to have. From the many years of experience I have with folks in doing the body work, the body holds all of this information, emotions, judgments. Let's just call it stuff.
Yep.
And as your body releases that, then you're more aware of what's going on, the sources of it. It's easier to let it go and not be at the under its control. So the more you do that, the more aware of the body and what's going on in the body and what your body is telling you, the more enlightened, the more in present time, all that stuff people talk about, be here now. Exactly what that means is noticing what's going on, noticing what your reaction is, and transforming it, if you will, in a way that supports you in creating what you want in this three-dimensional world.
And it's practiced over time, so that over time you're actually creating new neurological pathways and essentially transmuting whatever issues and things you've been putting up with, so that you have a clear and open life and are able to create in the physical world with great ease. Because isn't that what we all really want, is to be able to have a life that's joyful and alive and full of love and fully expressing ourselves with whatever it is that we're creating.
Which is, after all, the point of healing. When you start down the road of healing, things become easier. Maybe for a short time they become more difficult, and that's just the old patterns releasing. But the point of healing is so that your life becomes, like Shelley said, easier, more joyful. There's more love to experience. And when you're really creating what it is you want from your passion, there's an explosion, if you will, and what we talk about, an essential shift in how you're experiencing and living your life.
Yes, when I teach women in the Power of Woman seminar, Cailin, I teach women step by step. Tom's working with the body, but then I work with the women and, well, what do you do in the physical world to transmute your life, to have the quality of life that you're after? And by the way, most of the women that come to me, and even the men and women that we teach, they have good lives already, but they're putting up with some things that really do stop them or hold them back, or unconsciously get in their way. So I teach step by step. They're very specific, what I call life tools, to release whatever's in the way so that they fully access all of their energy, all of their potential to create in the physical world. And we focus very specifically on creating, because the creating is what is the most important thing. But then as you are living your life, as everyone knows, things start to come up. Well, there are tools that you can release in those moments. You don't have to focus on the issues first. You can focus on the creating and then release whatever comes up in the process of living your life, which is what's so brilliant about being able to work with people from any walk of life. It makes no difference.
Right. And life is organic, moving that way. Nothing goes in an absolutely straight line or any logical order. In fact, what would some of the steps be that you use for people to become enlightened in this way?
Well, I think the first step is to become, I'm going to call it, super aware of what your body's doing in each moment. Then you're thinking, because the body's the first thing that experiences energy. And then our brain mind system takes and does something with that. So the mind, not the brain, but the mind itself is reactive to what the body's experiencing through its senses. Mm-hmm. So if you can shift and let go of what those things are in the body, then you are on the way to experiencing enlightenment. It's experiencing your life, let's say.
Is that part of your technique, doing the body work? I mean, how do you get that out physically?
Well, yeah, over the years, I've been able to see where people are holding their stuff. There's that word again. Where they're holding their stuff, and key into where in the body it is. The body is an energetic mechanism. Kind of like a computer, you put stuff in, you get stuff out. And as that stuff comes out, literally, like Shelley said, what happens is the neurology starts to change. Actually, the pathways that have been built up over years and years and years and years of reacting the same way, that starts to break down, that starts to shift, and new neurology is built. Now, it takes a while. Neurology doesn't change instantly for the most part. But over time, you start to notice, gee, I'm not having that same reaction, although that thought may be there. You're just not, I'm going to use the word, hooked to it. It's not dragging you around the room. So that, I think, is the first step.
I also want to add something else here, Cailin,
yes, please.
And that is that people have to want to heal. You have to have a commitment to your life. Otherwise, going around and jumping from thing to thing to thing to try things out without a really deep commitment, no matter what, you don't know how you're going to get there, but you're determined to heal. That's what it takes. And you and I both know that intimately with our own lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's maybe one issue sometimes that people just can't let go of that story around that.
That's right.
You really have to want it out.
Yeah, you got to wanna. And the reason they, perhaps it seems like they can't let go of it is because no one's really told them the method of how to.
Right.
Who's taught you how to let go of, Uncle Frank dropped me on my head when I was 6 months old, and Shelley will demonstrate with you in a little bit what that is. But when you start to learn how to let go of those things and actually do that work, then you see, oh, I can let go of this. This is not permanent and forever.
Mm.
One of the things I want to mention here is that the work that we've developed over the years, Cailin, really has come out of a commitment to healing our own lives. We didn't go somewhere and study what we train others to do. Yes, we did study for a period of time, but our work doesn't resemble anything that we've studied. It comes out of first of all, a lifelong commitment to our own healing and then to supporting others. And I think that's very, very crucial, because we're living what we teach. We didn't learn it in a book.
Absolutely.
Yes, you understand that.
Don't we all start with fixing our own selves and improving our lives?
Yeah.
Yes. So would you like to do this exercise that we were speaking about?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe if we go through some of this and then talk again after, it'll start making some sense for people.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Well, so now this is an exercise that I do in my Advanced Power of Woman seminar. Tom and I also do a version of this exercise in our Relationship Mastery seminar, and also in the private work that we do one-on-one with individuals. Okay, so first of all, if everyone is participating in the audience, be sure that you're in a safe place where there are no distractions. You don't want the children come running into the room or the dog barking in the background. And just have a quiet space and begin to breathe. Now, some of the people in the audience, you may already have a particular breathing technique, that's fine. But here's what I recommend. Simply take deep, connected breaths through your mouth.
Okay.
The reason for that is simply to bring in more oxygen into the body. It is not related to any particular breathing technique. So I recommend bringing the oxygen into your mouth and then releasing it like a sigh and connecting right back into your inhale again. So let's demonstrate it. And you can close your eyes during this if you choose.
So we're inhaling through the mouth also.
Yes, and exhaling it through the mouth. And take your time with it. Now continue your breath in that manner, Cailin, because you're demonstrating to everyone how this works. Now, as you are breathing, and this time I recommend you keep your eyes closed for the entire thing, simply bring up an issue, something that you want to heal. And I don't recommend the big, heavy issue of your life right now simply because you're practicing. I know you're interested in working on something in the area of relationship. Yes?
Yes, I mean, a lot of us, I think, and people can choose what they want to focus on, but the area of relationships, I've felt there's something strange, preventing me from this for
Very good.
an extraordinarily long amount of time.
So simply this, Cailin, continue your deep, connected breath. Bring up a specific issue with a specific relationship rather than trying to handle the whole, the whole category of relationship.
Okay.
All right, you were there with it? So it's an intimate relationship with someone and you're within a specific incident that you're envisioning, correct?
Okay.
Okay, very
I'm
good.
there.
Remember to continue your deep, connected breath. Okay, what are the emotions or emotion having to do with this issue or incident with this person? See if you can identify them.
Well, it feels good. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a painful thing.
Well, in this particular incident, it felt good. Okay, when you left the incident, was there some feeling of loss or sadness?
Yes, I had to treat it like a death even.
You've treated it like a death. So
Yeah.
there's great sadness and loss with the
Great sadness.
yes. Yes. Was there any anger or frustration or annoyance? Any of those?
Yeah, you know, those come with it.
All right.
Anger, annoyance.
Anger, annoyance, frustration, loss, sadness. Well, that's quite a bit. Okay.
Then you just say, well, we wish them the best.
Okay, that's fine. And you
Think
can wish
that.
people the best, as you know, but that doesn't get to the release the way you're speaking of wanting to experience it that way.
Right,
So,
right.
okay. So now, again, you're continuing your deep, connected breath. You've identified the emotions related to the issue having to do with that particular person. And now what I would like for you to do as you're breathing is simply scan your body, beginning with the top of your head and very slowly working downward to see where you feel the reaction to that issue with that person or that incident with that person, where you're feeling the reaction, the feeling of the reaction in your body.
I got it.
All right. So
It's
now where is
really in
it?
my heart and solar plexus
Very
area.
good. So you know
Really both.
immediately. For those people who have a little bit more difficulty, I would recommend putting your hand on the area where you feel the reaction. If you have more than one reaction, you can scan your body again and check to see if you have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or maybe the whole body reaction. So you determine where the reactions are. And now, all right, so now you're there in the feeling of the reaction, correct? Yes.
Right.
Now, I'm going to ask you to drop into a similar feeling as a child, not a similar incident, a similar feeling, and allow the computer of energy to bring up the information. It can be any age child, from little tiny child to a young adult. And just nod your head when you're there. Okay. I recommend for those of you who are working at home, and you may want to do this as well, Cailin, to hold yourself in your arms so the child feels safe. And have the child, now listen to the child and actually become the little child or the older child and listen to what the child is telling you. Listen to the information she is giving to you, and she'll give you very specific information about how she is feeling. And keep breathing. Deep, connected breaths. And nod when you've gotten the information. Okay, are you willing to share a little bit of it with us?
Yeah, yeah. Shall I open my eyes or stay like this?
Stay like that for now. Yes.
Yes. It's just so bad. The child's feelings are, it's going to be the end of the world. And that's why the relationship ending was just torture.
So now hold on with all of the other things that you're thinking about with it and just stick with the child for now, because it's very easy to get caught up in the explanations, right? We all have the explanations and story about what happened. So now just stay with the feeling, because this is a very crucial point. So now you're in the devastating feelings of the child. Great sadness, great upset.
Yeah.
Your anger.
No, just really painful.
Painful sadness.
Painful sadness.
Great
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
my childhood was like that all the time.
Yes. And you know, I understand that we haven't talked about our histories. So, okay. So now here's what I want you to do. As the child feeling, now, not as the adult trying to do it for the child. As the child, breathe the feelings out of your body on purpose. Command that body, whatever age child, remember you're becoming the child, breathe it out on purpose. Command your body to let it go. Let go of the sadness, let go of the upset. You may need to cry. And for those of you in the audience, if you need to cry or pound a pillow, that's perfectly fine. Have at it. And let it release out of the cells on purpose. Command the body to let it go.
Does feel like moving out. Things are moving.
Start to move out. Remembering you're moving it as the child. And as you move it out and as you release it, put a whole new feeling in its place as the child now. Put in love, put in peace, put in joy, put in whatever you choose. Not forgiveness. We'll talk about that afterward. Put in a new feeling. And I recommend for now, love or peace or joy or all of the above. And breathe the feeling into the little child's body, whatever age the child is, on purpose.
Okay.
And how are you feeling? Are you there?
I'm there, but my stomach hurts really bad.
Okay, that's okay, because first of all, this needs to be practiced. Usually we are releasing a piece of the energy, and that's okay. So now, returning yourself to current time, your eyes are open now. How has this experience or this, let's say, perception of your life, although you've had very specific issues, been keeping you from being in your life? And ask yourself that question at home. And you can answer it if you choose.
I don't know. Nothing. I'm getting nothing.
Well, what you've shared with me, and perhaps this is not appropriate, is that there have been some things in the area of relationship that have not been the way you want them to be, correct? So it's kept you from creating the outcome that you really want in the physical world.
Okay, you mean when we have relationships with family or, not love relationships that are just really damaging?
Yes, anything at all that where you hold yourself back in some form because of the hurt and sadness from that history, correct?
It is a holding back for sure.
There's a physical, energetic holding back in the body. So when you start to release it, you have that open energy from which you now can create. Sorry, honey, I know there was something wrong with this. So
I wasn't crying, but my eyes get teary.
And then you ask, well, what's the truth about this perception of my life? Is there truth in it? Certainly you had life circumstances, but is there any truth to it now? And what is the answer? Absolutely not.
Really, really far removed.
Far removed. Now, is there an energetic imprint that has to be cleared? Of course.
Yeah.
That needs to be done. But then, now what are you going to create instead? What are you going to create in your life out of this new openness in your energy?
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
And then you can create whatever you want.
Right.
Now, did all of that experience from the past get released? Certainly not. You completed a piece of that energy that's now gone. How do
Yeah.
you know it's gone? You released it out of the body and you replaced it with a new experience. And it
Yeah.
has to be cleared as the child.
It's interesting when we were doing that replacement process.
Yes.
Well, I'm such a visual person. I had a rush of images come to me from that time in my life. The things, the objects that made me happy, and images directly from that time. It was so interesting. Things I hadn't thought of in forever. Like these spirits lived in my blanket.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
In your blanket, that's
so
delightful. Sort of.
and those spirits were my friends. You know, I love them. I talk with them all the time. And I was always talking with the spirits my whole life. So I think also that coming in, like those child spirits will help fix it, keep repairing maybe.
yeah. What you've demonstrated is how the body holds things and a little bit of how to let it go. And that's really at the basis of the work we do. Everything we do is based on what is the body experiencing, how is it the mind is using it for positive or negative. I don't like to use positive or negative. Let's say instead of positive stuff that's working, and negative is things that aren't working in your life. So as you let go of the things that don't work, you're more open to the ability of creating. Now you have a little more room in the body, a little more space also in your thinking, which is part of the process. People have this idea that thoughts and thinking are separate from the body. It's all the body. There's no separation. It's perceived that way because that helps us survive. So now you have more room, more space to start to look at, okay, well, how do I use this? And that's one of the deep tenets that we use and things that we teach is, okay, you're angry, you're sad, you're happy, you're having a miserable day, you're having a great day, the car blew up, whatever it is. Okay, how do I use this to create? Because all that is really is energy. And again, around enlightenment, the more you're enlightened about it, you go, oh, the car blew up. Okay, so what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
You may have some angst for a little while, but ultimately, whatever it is that's going on in your life, how do I use this to create?
And one of the things I wanted to point out is when we were going through this exercise, how you, and this is common for everyone, all wanted to put our story to it. Here's what I recommend.
Okay.
Don't get involved with the story. Simply train yourself in the feeling in the body, because the more you get involved in the story, the more you keep that whole perception of life going. And look, I tell my story, but I'm not at the effect of it anymore because I've been doing my work for so many years.
Right.
Yeah. So in the beginning, especially, unless you want to teach about some specific thing and you're telling your background, there's no reason to really get involved in it. It keeps you from creating what you really want right now.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. I heard that years ago. A woman told me, don't talk and about this relationship. Don't talk your old story.
Yes. And it's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like we talked about neurology, it just reinforces the neurology.
And it perpetuates the feeling in the body that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, no matter what I do, it's never right, nobody really loves me, and on and on and on down the road, we trip and fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are you feeling now?
I feel good. My stomach doesn't hurt anymore. Isn't that interesting that I had just like a...
But you picked a very difficult one, which was fine, especially for you.
But that's the one I need to keep working on clearing all the time. One of many.
Yes. But if you think about, how your life has progressed, there is much in the history that really has shaped how you interacted with certain people and even chose certain partners. So this way, you unhook.
Well, that's just it. I don't choose any partners. That's
You don't
the
choose any
problem.
partners. Well, it's time to get on with it, Cailin.
That's my open space.
To create a partnership that works, someone's got to start it. We can have fun with this. It doesn't have to be this terrible.
Yeah, it's good to laugh about it too. Yeah. And not take it all so seriously, because really it's just the story and it moves on.
That's right.
And mostly the story is based on illusions.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, things we think are true, but really aren't.
Oh, yeah,
Based on experiences that we thought we had, that maybe didn't. Or if it's early childhood stuff, you don't know what it is anyway. We have concepts about what happened to us, and maybe it did, or maybe it didn't.
Yeah.
So running around for 30, 40, 50 years with, again, Uncle Freddie dropped me on my head when I was 6 months old. Well, you don't know that.
Yeah. I play around with this same thing from Byron Katie's The Work. You know what I'm talking about? It takes the situation and reverses it. So you're always at fault.
You're always at fault.
Exactly.
Well, but that's not, given how you look at your life, you may be at fault. But when you start to become I'm not talking about you personally, but when you start to take responsibility, you can have all those difficult things in your past, if you've had difficult things occur, which I know some of the audience has not, but you can have all those things and just have them be a part of what you've learned from to use to create a life that works for you today, rather than being at the effect of whatever that history has been. I chose on purpose to heal my life. I was determined not to pass the pain on to my children when I had a family one day, because as I have told you, I grew up in a terrible family life where there was physical, emotional, and sexual abuse all the time. And I left my home under duress, and I went on to create a life, met my dear husband, Tom, a few years later, and we got on with creating what we do today. Took some years. Yeah. And it also took our marriage starting to fall apart. But we were determined to heal ourselves and really create something very special. And we were also determined to make sure that whatever work we did, it was permanent change for the individual. Not just feeling good for the moment and then back into the stuff again.
Yes. Can you tell us more about that permanency and how your techniques work at that level?
Yeah. Like anything that you're passionate about, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. It's people who are in sports call it muscle memory. In this case, I would call it body memory, because you're not constantly, but you're working on it over and over and over again. And eventually what happens, that new energy, that new experience becomes permanent. Now, it takes a while. It takes a while for neurology to change.
But the tools aren't difficult, Cailin. The tools are very simple, not difficult. You just, there's a certain awareness with your everyday life. And then as things come up, you have specific tools that you can use to release something in that very moment, so you're not dragging it around with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so permanency comes with practice. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. And eventually what happens is you're just doing it. It's just there. It's it's kind of like breathing. You just breathe. You don't have to think about it.
Perhaps we should give you a few more examples. so that you get a sense of it,
Yeah.
it's applied, how this work gets applied in one's
You
life.
have some pretty incredible stories of people you worked with. I just heard a couple. Please share with us some of these instances.
Well, first of all, Tom will tell you about a lady. Now, of course, he's worked with thousands of people all over the United States. But this particular woman came to us many, many years ago, and she had been hospitalized and actually in a body cast. She had terrible, terrible scoliosis. And back then, did they fuse the spine?
Yeah,
They
back,
put rods.
no, she was fused. Back then they didn't have Harrington rods or whatever they use now.
But this woman, when she came to us, she was bent almost perpendicular to the floor. And the curious thing about it is she chose a profession as a massage therapist.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And the lovely, lovely woman, but in terrible physical and emotional pain.
Yeah. So I worked with her, and after the first, I don't know how many sessions, 5 or 6 maybe, she was starting to come up. Now, she'll never be totally straight because it's, it's fused spines. That's a permanency that you can't get past. And also the muscles that were atrophied started to grow back. In fact, it became fairly painful for her as all that stuff changed. But when we were done, she was, instead of 45 degrees bent over, she was maybe 80, 90, 70, 80 in there somewhere.
80 standing up.
Yeah, and her life was very different.
Yes, she was actually being able to have a life now.
Oh my gosh.
Tom used to call her the poster child for his work.
Yeah, really.
But some other stories. A dear friend who came to us probably about 15 years ago, who was in terrible emotional pain, was successful in her career as a graphic artist, and she was married, was having difficulty having children. Well, after doing some body work with Tom, where he kind of shifted some of the energy in the female area, in the uterus area, she was able to conceive.
Oh.
And then after that, she found that she and her husband really were not on the same wavelength. They were not going in the same direction in life. And so after a period of time, not only did she let go of the marriage, but she also found a relationship where she created a true partnership. She let go of the emotional issues that she'd been holding on to, which, by the way, were based in some very, very difficult family life issues. And also she had been sexually abused. And she let go of all of that. She lives such an incredible life today. Everything she chooses, she creates easily in the world.
She's truly living in co-creation.
It's remarkable to see her grow, really.
Wow. Yeah.
There was another couple that we had in one of our relationship seminars, and they were actually our next door neighbor. And they came in and went through the course. And about a couple of days later, they decided then they were going to get married in like 3 weeks. And just after the course, they decided they're not going to get married.
Why not?
Yeah, I know. It's like, wait a minute, it's not supposed to happen. But they found that they really weren't compatible in what we were talking about. Now, later on, they both got married and, lived good lives. So you really don't know what's going to happen,
Good thing that they realized it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand, some dear people out in California that were having great difficulty in their relationship, they came and stayed for a long weekend with us after having done a lot of our work. The woman had come to my seminars. The man had come to us, Tom, for body work, and to me for inner child work. And they came specifically to work on their marriage. Well, they're married still many, many, many years later and have a very good marriage today.
Yeah.
So that mostly happens. It's not usually that people decide that they're going to separate.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the best relationships have difficult times. It's not like we're going to be living in this perfect utopian world. Even all of us doing this kind of work, life still happens.
Life happens.
Yes, we live in a 3-dimensional world. And that's why we do what we do, give people a a way to deal with that three-dimensional world in so that they can create in it, even around, like I said before, even around all the stuff that's going on.
Is that kind of what you mean about consciousness relating to healing?
Yes, exactly. The more aware you become of what's around you, the more you heal physically, emotionally, spiritually. All of that becomes available to you as a healing process.
And what I found with the work that Tom has done with me is that the things that I'd been putting up with for my entire life, and I was very depressed, going through my young adult years into my little later 20s and into my early 30s, took me some time to release all of that agony and pain that I had experienced as a child. But it
Yeah.
was cleared out.
Yeah. Well, we're just about out of time. It's so easy to keep going and going with you two, talking forever. I love it.
Well, it's been such a joy being with you today, Cailin.
Thank you. Thanks so much for that excellent journey experience too, the guided healing. I really feel definitely open and things shifted. I can feel it.
Very good.
Yes. So now, when you
What else did we? Oh, sorry.
when you use it again, please, you'll get much deeper into it the next time when you're by yourself.
Good point. This is something that we can keep doing with any issue, the same issue or new issues.
All the time, whenever you need to release something that's really in your way.
Yeah, yeah. Is there what else? Is there something that we haven't yet talked about? I know I wanted to ask more about the guiding one and the other one who has the combined saints.
Yes.
The Katumi energy.
You know,
Yes.
there's a lot of different types of channeling out there. I didn't study or do anything to become a channel. It just kind of happened, I think, out of my experience of working in the body and working in energy. It was a spontaneous thing. But what we said is that either this will have value for people or I'm not going to do it. And so as proceeded through that process of becoming a channel and opening my body to that, I got deeper and deeper and deeper. This type of channeling that I do isn't, everything's all right and you're going to be fine channeling. Especially with Katumi, it answers very specific questions about what people are going through, the relationships, health. Yeah, very accurate with health things.
Also with what you want to create in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I use the Katumi energy a lot to help me with clarity still as I'm developing my programs and also the programs that we're teaching together.
Why does it include the one who built the Taj Mahal?
How come? Yeah, I don't know. It's just how the energy came through. I don't have a reason for that. In fact, the channeling I take on, it's more the Shah's energy than the other two.
Now, what I will say though, Cailin, and giving you somewhat of an answer to this, is that the combined energy of all three men is of pure unconditional love. So that's the feeling of the energy that Tom channels. And it is in the personality of the Shah Jahan. However, the other energy of the other two men are there as well, but it's a combined energy.
Right.
Hard for us to grasp because we're in
And I mean, the Taj Mahal is built out of deep, pure love for his wife. I mean,
absolutely.
It's her tomb.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And he does occasionally tell stories about that history to teach for the physical world in present time. It's really very endearing and right on every single time. So if people want a private session or a group channeling, we do that. Tom does provide that for people.
In
and
person.
also,
That's in person?
and by telephone as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The thing, I just want to put this in because people are especially the folks who are probably going to listen to this, are familiar with channeling. Good channeling does not tell you what to do. It will lead you to a place of understanding. The only time Katumi will talk about what you should do is with health concerns. You know, do this, take that. But other than that, there's no telling you what to do or how to do it.
Okay, good point. So how do you just receive like a guidance that you may look at it one way or another, or how does it come out?
Yeah, how does it come out? Well, it's an interchange with people.
There is a discourse. Tassenstamm is not there. There is a discourse, and very specific to one's life. And then the person has an opportunity to ask questions. Now, sometimes a person will bring a friend or a family member with them, and there'll be two people that will channel. And so then the energy that gets addressed is the energy of both people. But then you can ask whatever questions and have an interaction with Katumi like you and I are speaking right now.
Yeah.
And it does get recorded so people can hear it over and over again, because there are nuances in the vibration, in the experience, that are profound that people very often will miss initially.
Right.
Yes. So
I've had that happen before with some Swiss mystics. We're doing amazing channeling, and I heard several messages that were for me, and just profound. I had to write them down immediately.
Exactly.
Yes. And with it being recorded, then you get, I think, more of a nuance. And as you listen to it, you go, oh, I didn't hear that before. And it starts to get in at a deeper level.
Right.
The guiding one is very different, because the guiding one gives very specific information about how we actually create physical reality.
Oh, really?
Yes. And that's what our work is based on, is the experience. We didn't just listen to the information. We took it and applied it in our lives and became masterful in it and began to teach people out of our experience. So the guiding one is very specific. In fact, gave us a very specific exercise to create what we choose in the physical world.
Are other people working with these same entities? I'm sure that's not the right word, but
that's fine.
Guides.
There are other people who channel Katumi, however they do it. No one that I know of channels the guiding one.
Okay.
But the channeling information will be different according to who it comes through and really how clear they are. This is an essential thing in channeling. To be a true channel, you've got to do a lot of your own personal healing and letting go. Otherwise, it will eat you alive energetically.
Wow.
So that's what I've spent a lot of time doing, is continually clearing myself to the point now I can say that, and Shelley as well, I'm going to speak for her, which is always a dangerous thing, that we're complete. We're there. We experience who we are in each moment. We experience the love that we have for each other, certainly, and the love that the universe is. We experience universal energy absolutely and completely. So we're done. It's over for us. Now, are there other things you want to do? Of course. But we use that experience of being complete in our lives to support other people in creating what they want in their lives.
That's a beautiful ending point. Yes, please, Shelley.
Really wonderful. I think the thing that I would like to just add, I do want to mention one more time about mastery of conscious self. And the reason for that is because it's designed specifically for healers and teachers. Because you and I were speaking about, doing our own internal work is so crucial to the quality of the support we can give to other people.
Right.
And those of us who are passionate about supporting so many others, we really must be clear. That's our mandate as being healers and teachers. Right. So we designed Mastery of Conscious Self for that specific purpose, and also for people who want to get deep rather rapidly into who they are and creating out in the world. So if you would like to join us or want more information, I think you'll have the information posted on the screen or however you.
Yeah, yeah, there will be your website on there so people will know where to go. That reminds me, I lost track of time completely in this session. So I want to be mindful of everybody's time, but can you just quickly remind everybody what is your free gift?
The free gift is for people to go to my website, and there will be a link that you have posted, ShelleyNegelow.com. That's SHELLEY, N as in Nancy, EG as in girl, ELOW.com. And on the About Shelley page, and midway down, there is a picture of my book, The Master in the Mirror. Directly above the book, click on that link for a complimentary chapter on my book, and that you are welcome to read and download. And
Great.
then there is an area that you can purchase the book if you're interested.
Okay.
Also, Tom and I are offering a half-hour free consultation to anyone who would like to continue and to work with us personally.
Oh, that's marvelous. Well,
Yes.
we'll have that link on our website right with next to your video, so it's easy access for everybody. And thank you both so much. I really enjoyed this time together and getting to know you both more.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cailin, and thank you for putting all this together for so many wonderful healers and teachers in the world. We really appreciate it and love your vision.
Thank you.